Hey math fans, we're on section 2.3.2. Let's get started. In this section, we're going to be performing operations with functions. In other words, we're going to have two functions like f of x and g of x, and we're going to add them together or maybe subtract them. We'll also look at multiplication and division. When we're doing division, we should really think about what we're dividing by. And if we are dividing by a function, like for example in this one, it's x plus 3, g of x is equal to x plus 3, and we're dividing by g of x, the denominator cannot equal 0, so we have to be careful of what our final answer is. So we did go ahead and divide by x plus 3. Notice that the x plus 3's became 1, and now we're just left with x plus 2. However, because there was an x plus 3 in the denominator to begin with, we need to restrict the domain. In other words, we need to ask ourselves, what would have made the denominator equal to 0? And the answer is negative 3. Negative 3 plus 3 would be equal to 0. So we have to restrict that domain at x equals negative 3, which means also that the range has been restricted. Because if there was a point at x is equal to negative 3, our final answer would have yielded a y value of negative 1. So both the domain needs to be restricted at negative 3, the range needs to be restricted at negative 1. Here are some common errors and misconceptions. Example 1. Let f of x be x squared minus 3x plus 4. G of x is equal to x squared plus 6x minus 3. And it says build a new function f plus g of x. So we're just going to be adding these two functions together. So whenever you see f plus g in parentheses x, it really just means add f of x to g of x. So we're going to substitute both of those functions in there, combine the like terms, and we're going to get h of x, which is our new function, is equal to 2x squared plus 3x plus 1. Example 2 says, let f of x equal 3x plus 4, g of x is equal to 5x minus 2. Build a new function, h of x, which h of x is equal to f times g of x. So just like the last one, what we're going to do is we're going to take f of x and multiply it times g of x. Substitute the values in for f of x and g of x. And this is going to be a case where we're going to be double distributing. And once we've combined like terms, we're going to notice that it becomes a quadratic. We had an x term in the first set of parentheses. We had an x term in the second set of parentheses. Therefore, our final answer will have an x squared in it. So we have the quadratic new function, h of x is equal to 15x squared plus 14x minus 8. Now for the tricky part. So we have f of x is equal to 3x minus 2 times x plus 5. And then it says g of x is equal to x plus 5. This is what type of function is the quotient of f over g of x, and are there restrictions? And if you remember what I told you at the beginning of the video, we have to consider when will the denominator be equal to 0 for what value of x? Well, looking at this particular problem right now, if we were to substitute x is equal to negative 5, we would get 0 in the denominator, and that can't happen. So even though our final answer will have those x plus 5's removed, or in other words, they will be 1, x plus 5 over x plus 5 is 1, and we'll get a final answer of 3x minus 2, we need to be mindful that we have to restrict that domain at negative 5. And because there is no x value of negative 5, there will also not be a y value there either. So we're going to substitute negative 5 in to 3x minus 2, and we get negative 17. So we have two restrictions. One is x cannot be equal to negative 5, and because of that, we cannot have a y value at negative 17. And that's going to do it for this section. We'll see you in class.